Good afternoon everybody, and welcome to the town of Waltham Abbey in Essex, England. And what you can see in the centre of your screen there is the fantastic Waltham Abbey church, which is a later building started in the Middle Ages, but it lies adjacent to the older ruins of Waltham Abbey itself, which was started by King Harold in the 11th century. So we're going to have a closer look at this important place in British history. And there's a slightly discordant note I can see for myself flying at the top of the tower, the rainbow flag, which used to be, of course, the LGBT emblem. Have no problem with that whatsoever, but have a big problem with its theft by the cult of COVID movement. So I hope at some point that can come down, but aside from that, let's enjoy this magnificent slice of English history. And of course, Waltham Abbey is alleged to be the site. Indeed, there's a tomb of King Harold himself, so we'll have a good look at that. But let's examine first this magnificent wooden door. So not coming in, just filming the beautiful church.
Just checking on the van.
Okay, sorry. So there you can see those emblems there. All good history. And there's a bit of information there. Okay, let's go around the church. And showing you there one of the side doors. And the stained glass windows, of course, which are best appreciated from the inside, looking out into direct sunlight. And there you go, there's the man himself, King Harold II, who was of course defeated by Duke William of Normandy at the Battle of Hastings in 1066. So that's him, and that's what this church is about. Actually, perhaps I should have asked the vicar there whether I could have come in, because inside the church, in fact, is a fantastic doom mural which depicts the Day of Judgment, and it's quite an impressive piece of Middle Age art. So when the church does open again in the future, I'll certainly go inside to have a look at that. And there's another door. Fantastic detail and work on that. And you've got another side door there. Couple of faces there. And what else have we got? I believe the situation was that in the building of the church in the medieval period, they used a lot of stones and requisitioned stones from the Abbey, the original 11th century Abbey. And just showing you over there, there's a funeral cortege passing with the traditional horse and carriage. So that's something that's fairly popular in this part of London and Essex. And here we go, there's a sign there to King Harold's tomb. And some more fantastic heads there, or I don't know whether I should say gargoyles. I think that is possibly Eleanor of Aquitaine, who does have connections to this area, and in fact there's what's called an Eleanor Cross at Waltham Cross, which is nearby. And this is not Harold's tomb, but this is another pretty impressive work here. And yep, just going to record all these fantastic heads. And have a look at that. That's the back of the church, and was, I think, part of the original Abbey structure. So you can just really appreciate the antiquity there of the work there. And here we've got Harold's Memorial. And it's got a bit of history there. Harold, the last Saxon king of England, killed at the Battle of Hastings. Duke William of Normandy refused Harold's mother's permission to claim his body. It was later identified by his mistress, Edith Swanneck, and brought back to Waltham. Having been cured of paralysis after praying here, Harold had extended the church, and it became a favourite of his. And sources recount that King Harold's body was moved several times as the church was extended. And it says Harold was crowned in 1066. His coronation and death were depicted in the Bayeux tapestry. So it's all important English history here, and this is the item itself, which is just over here. There you go, Harold, King of England, 1066, and it says here marks the position of the high altar behind which King Harold is said to have been buried in 1066. So that's some fine bit of English history there. And there's other interesting graves and tombs all around here. Okay, let's have a look over here. Of course, the Battle of Hastings, although a decisive victory, didn't immediately quash Saxon resistance that continued for some years afterwards under various figures, but it was not strong enough to oust the Normans, and did fritter away in the early 12th century. And this is part of the original abbey here. You can see it's looking a bit the worse for wear, but perhaps you could appreciate the sheer antiquity of those walls. You can zoom up on some of that. And just showing you, this is the remainder of the original abbey. This is what was left of it here. So quite some size, actually. I mean, if you can imagine that these walls would have been a lot higher. I mean, this would have been an impressive construction. And here we go, Waltham Abbey cloister entry. This vaulted passage of late 12th century date formed an entry to the cloister of the abbey through the northern range of claustral buildings. And that's where we just were, on the other side of that, looking back through there. And you can see those upright supports and cross supports there, all of some age. And there's a bit of information here on the cloister passage. So that's that. And these days the remains of Waltham Abbey lie in this sort of attractive landscaped park, which is pretty pleasant. And Abbey House, which is a Tudor, or was a Tudor building, and there's some information about that. So basically here you've got periods built on top of other periods, and just admire that angle through there. Okay, let's have a look around here. Whenever I visit castles or these sort of old buildings, I do like to touch the stone, make a connection there. the wall runs right around there. We won't go down there, but back through here. And there, again, a great aspect of the former abbey ruins with the church behind it. And bit of history there. The chapter house of the abbey is where the canons gathered every morning at 9 o'clock, etc., etc. So, this is Waltham Abbey, and you can see that the wall goes right round on that side and then extends over there as well. And some more information there about the apse and cloisters. Yeah, I'm not sure if I introduced the date at the beginning. It is Thursday, February the 25th, around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Very pleasant 11, 12 Celsius, about 53 Fahrenheit, so no complaints there. It's dry at least. Yet it was usual to have the flag of St. George, the English flag, flying. I believe, but times have changed. Just is a very peaceful spot here. In high summer and public holidays, it would get crowded here. You would get a lot of day trippers, people visiting for the afternoon, people having picnics, etc. But off-peak, it's generally a sort of pleasant, subdued atmosphere. But there's something pretty special on this side, so I'm going to show you that. And it is the famous Abbey Gateway, which is just there, and you can see there by pull in the zoom. The gateway, built in 1369 of stone and bricks, formed the main entrance to the Abbey precinct, which was set within its own enclosure, separate from the town. And there's the Edward III coat of arms there. And it says, if you look on the outside of the gateway, you will notice two shields. The imagery on these has long since been weathered and decayed. One of the shields is believed to be the royal coat of arms of Edward III from the mid-14th century, showing the French fleur-de-lis and the English lion's arms. Much of France was ruled by the English king at that time. And there's an artistic representation of the Abbey Gateway. And here is the back of the famous Abbey Gateway. And that is some ruin, isn't it? That's pretty impressive. Well, there's our friend, the moorhen. And just look at the thick solidness of those brick or stone walls. It's pretty impressive. And Waltham Abbey lies on the River Lee here. This is a tributary of the River Lee. And there you go. History and modernity in one visual. Okay, I think we'll go around this way. Huge number of water birds at the River Lee Park, and showing you a bit of bird action there. So he's enjoying what looks like a bit of pita, or pita bread. And it's attracted a few other friends there. Okay, we better press on. I've just got a couple more things to show you. And this, of course, is Waltham Abbey Gatehouse, ruins of the 14th century gatehouse of the Augustinian Abbey of Holy Cross. The large and small archways were for wheeled and pedestrian traffic respectively. So here's the gatehouse, and is correct there. There's the larger entrance, and there's the smaller. So smaller for pedestrians, and larger for wheeled horses, etc. And again, a great look at the stone walls here. Okay, let's press on.
What, baby? Did you get a free Well, I'll be on his cabin. Yes, I will.
What we'll do now is go into the or go onto the high street, and there's a quite remarkable pub that's located here. Not being inside it, it's of course closed at the moment, but you'll see what I mean. Just the nature of the building is just quite remarkable. I don't usually like to backtrack in my recordings because it's just a bit dull if you've seen the same route, but I think this is probably the quickest way to get through.
Good enough, like.
And you probably didn't see that bit. That's just a bit more of the wall there. last look there at the magnificent Waltham Abbey and Waltham Abbey Church. And again, a bit of history there. First church on the site dates from the 7th century, etc., etc. And a new church was built at the end of the 8th century. This church would have been standing during that reign, 1016 to 1035, and I ain't going to attempt to pronounce that for obvious reasons. And there's a detail here: the Holy Cross, a black crucifix, was found here or was brought here in about 1030. Yeah, more history here. Harold, first as Earl of Essex and later Earl of Wessex, became very powerful and owned large estates in Waltham. And it just continues on there. And then church rebuilt by the Normans between 1090 and 1150 in the new Romanesque style. So it's just layer after layer, century after a century of history here. And there's a bit more there on the Middle Ages. As part of his penance for his culpability in the murder of Thomas à Becket, King Henry II enlarged the church to 3 times its present-day length. In 1177, he replaced the secular college with an Augustinian priory, which he elevated to abbey status in 1184. So it's just so much history, really. Henry VIII visited Waltham, presented a stained glass window to the abbey. Anyway, let's press on. And here is the pub I mentioned, the Welsh Harp, connected to the Mullen Brewery. But just look at the detail there on the red tiled roof. It's just a bit special in my special book. And just going underneath here, just got to look at these timbered cross beams here, black and white, and from the other side you can get a really good look at the red tiling and the way it leans there. It's just a bit special. Look at the angle there on the window and the lean there. So that's yeah, that's really it for Waltham Abbey, the Abbey, the church, and the Welsh Harp pub. So we've past 30 minutes. So thanks again for watching. You've been watching Kent Davidson Rural Adventures, and for more of the same on English history, check out my channel on YouTube. So thanks again, and bye for now.